Morning. I am currently in Normal, Illinois. I'm not Normal, as you know, but I am in Normal, Illinois, and I'm had a wonderful night last night. It was a little scary at first because I had picked out an acceptable hotel to stay at, motel. I think it was a Courtyard or whatever. And when I went to check in, guess what? There was no vacancy. I wasn't thinking that maybe on a Friday night it'd be a good idea to have an advance reservation. C'est la vie. I heard the guy say to another person who was trying to check in, there's a Days Inn just down the road. Go ahead there. And I didn't even check prices, man. I just went to the Days Inn. I got to get there before he does. If I don't get there before he does, he may get the last room. Lack consciousness, not a good way to think. In any event, I went to the Days Inn and I got a room, $69 a night plus tax. So God knows, whatever that is, 70 something. But it was well worth it. They had breakfast. I kind of had to laugh to myself because my room, they must, for older people, I don't know how they know I'm old, but anyway, for older people, they put you on the first floor, which is very nice and not too far from the front desk. So I think that's cool. I'm taking advantage of that senior benefit. And so anyway, as I walk for the free breakfast, I notice that they've got a little gym and it's empty. Every time I've gone by it, it's empty. And there in the kitchen, in the dining area where they have their free breakfast, that is probably 90% carbs. That's full. So where you get your carbs is full, and where you get good exercise is empty. Isn't that what they call the human condition? I'm moving this a little bit because that light behind me is making me crazy. Okay, so, all right. Oh, God, no, now I'm too dark. I'm too dark, I'm too light. Let's try it this way. Oh, I like it like this. It looks like I've got a halo or something. I could use all the help I could get. Okay, so back on the road. I want to talk about timing. I'm late today because it's an hour earlier here. And but that's not the point. The point is I've found that now that I'm in sightseeing territory, I have to leave earlier and I have to get off the road earlier. So so I'm getting off later. I mean, isn't that what we do? We say this and we do that. Apostle Paul said that. That which I should do, I do not. And that which I should do, no, that which I should do, I do not. And that's what I should not do, that I do. So I'm going to try to get in earlier tonight. And but it's going to be hard because I want to show you what my daily little thing is. This is what I use. Oh, and you all see it backwards. I'm sorry about that, but it's a big map, and it's way big. Hang on. It's way big. But what I do is I fold it down to what I want to see that day, and I mark what I want to see to kind of assure I'm going to see it. I don't know if you know, but everything I'm doing here is backwards. I go right, it goes left, so a little crazy making. So I circled the things I want to see, and then you have to have two sources. Then I have my guidebook. I'll show you that tomorrow because I don't want to go dig it out right now. Then I have this, which is from my other guidebook, which also includes directions, which the map doesn't do. So anyway, so that is my my plan that I do, and if I have enough energy, I try to do it when I get into my hotel at night. If I don't, then I do it right after my prayer time. Now, that is one of the things. My mission here is to, I gotta move over. My mission here is to drive and to pray and to heal. Now, the driving, that ain't no problem. I get in and I drive. As a matter of fact, I drive when I don't even have to drive because I don't know where the heck I am and I have to find my way. I will, on that note, say thank you, God, for my GPS because in a way, maybe the GPS means God's protective system, because it gets me where I want to go when I get lost, you know? Don't you wish your life had that? Like you're going off track and it says rerouting. You know, boy, I'd like to have one of those in my brain, in my life when I'm tempted to go off track. So anyway, back to I am in normal. So on the drive part, when I drive, I am alone. I have audiobooks, but I don't play them when I am driving because I'm kind of focused, especially now that we're in sightseeing area. When it's like you're going to drive 100 miles and, there's nothing to stop at in between. Well, that's fine. Put on the audiobook. I have found I made a couple of really not the wisest selections in my audiobooks. One is called Kevin Hart, and it's about life lessons, and I thought it'd be funny, and it's pretty vulgar. It does have its funny moments, but it's pretty vulgar. But what I'm getting about is being alone, taking the trip alone, being alone, so that I can process and heal and work on it. And part of that also is sometimes if you're with somebody else, you're not inclined to meet new people. So along my journey, a part of it is meeting new people. For example, I had a delightful waitress the other day at Lewis's, where they make amazing crepes and potato pancakes there. But I met her and she was so nice and sweet. And so I wound up actually giving her a copy of My Secret of Sweetwater Stream, and she was tickled silly. I handed it to her and I said, I'm giving you this because your life, I pray, will be far more enriched by it, by any tip I could give. So, and I do believe that because the book's full of good spiritual principles. And I kind of pondered that during the day. You know, I told you I gave a book to the homeless person that I gave breakfast to yesterday. And so Spirit has kind of said, well, every time you're inclined, give away one of your books. And I mean, I made this journey to get healed and everything. And then I thought, well, I'll take my books along. And, you know, when I can stop at Unity churches and stuff and see if they want them in the bookstore, maybe I can line up a book signing or something like that. Well, and I still plan to do that. But also, if I'm inspired, I'm going to give the books, knowing that the spiritual principles are working, whether, I can see the immediate result, you give and you receive. And I mean, the books ain't cheap, but Spirit is telling me that this is what I need to do. It's really strange when you stop listening to self and start listening to Spirit, which I've been working on for over 30 years. So I'm just keeping on going with that. So yesterday I spent my day in Joliet, and it was a lot of fun. Now I started off at the Route 66 visitors center and welcome place, whatever, and museum. Now I made a very important discovery there. I am not really if I've got a long journey to make and there's a lot of things I want to see, I probably don't want to be in a museum unless it has a particular interest to me. The history of Joliet is very nice, but it's not like I was dawdling along the road and I had places to go, things to see, and people to meet. So I did the whole sit and watch the video thing and then toured it. And it was, I hope you're checking my my album, because I add to it every day, my post. But I decided that only a museum, like today, I hope to hit the, this sounds stupid, it's the amusements museum. What do you call arcade? The arcade arcade museum. So I want to go see arcade games. Do I play them? Probably not much. But I just thought that would be something I really would want to see. So that's a museum that says yes. A museum that said Gordon Ramsay on it, that would be a yes, but I don't think I'm going to find that here. But anyway, so if you're traveling, then choose what you really, really want to see. And don't go to a museum because you think you should go to a museum. All day yesterday, I traveled only about 120 miles. I didn't even get gas. and I have a half a tank now, but I'm going to get it in the morning because I know before I go out on the road, whether that's when I stop at night, so I'll be ready in the morning, or first thing in the morning, getting gas is going to be one of my first things I do. And I did see a lot of things on my trusty map that I used, and one of the things I saw was an I don't know how to explain it. It was just murals everywhere. Buildings were painted with murals, and they were so lifelike. There was one for an ice cream shop, and it looked so real. I started to walk up to it, see if they were open, and maybe I could use a local ice cream. That was in Pontiac, by the way, Pontiac, Illinois. And as I got closer, I was, wait a minute, this is unreal. It's a painting. And you've got to check out my wall and go to my it's called Getting My Kicks on Route 66 album, because it is quite amazing. It was a 2-rock day yesterday. I gave away 2 rocks, and the first thing I did was, as I was on my little path and following my little thing, I went to the Gemini Giant. And now I don't know if you're aware of it, but I posted a picture of the Gemini Giant, and I expect to post another one today, and there's another one in Springfield. When you look at the pictures of the Giants, those were all muffler ads. And back in the day, the big guy was holding a muffler. So in the Gemini Giant, they changed it to a rocket ship, and it was at the launching pad restaurant, which is now closed, unfortunately. I hope somebody snags that up and does something with it. Guys, anything you can find to support the Route 66 restoration and everything, I beg you to do it. Anytime, like if I go somewhere and I see a little box for donations for that, I just put some money in there. Every time you gotta take care of what you love. That's where you put your energy. So I'm putting my energy. Anytime I see a donation box, I will probably, before this is over, be giving you links that you can support it, because maybe you can't do Route 66 right now, but you can down the road. Well, because of threats of government funding being taken away from the restoration of Route 66, they're kind of challenged. So support Route 66, support our history, support a time when life was simpler, and I'm sorry, I think it was better, but I'm working on the best life I know how now. So anyway, get back to the Gemini Giant. I left my rock there, and then it was so nice because I stood there for quite a while with the rock in my hand. There's nothing really right around where the Gemini Giant is that people would be. I mean, there's a gas station across the 4-lane road. There's a car dealership, and I'm like, I don't have anybody to take my picture. So I kind of stood there and looked helpless for a little bit. And sure enough, a guy came over from the gas station. He works there. And he took the pictures for me, and we introduced ourselves, and I kind of told him what I was doing. And then he went back his way, and as I turned to go back to my car, I saw that a black car had pulled up, and there was a young couple, and they were looking in the windows of the launching pad and kind of laughing. And then I figured, I got my first one. Snag someone to pick up that roaming rock. And they walked over to the big Gemini Giant, and they looked at it, and they took some silly pictures. She was standing on it. It was really cute. In a good way, she was standing on it. She wasn't being abusive. And they stood and looked, took a couple of pictures, and then they picked up the rock. I was so excited. And a couple minutes later, they put it back. And I'm like, well, that's fine. And I went to my car, and I posted the picture of the giant and putting the rock. And I drove off. As I drove off, they were still there. And I thought, maybe after I leave, then they will pick up the rock. Maybe they just didn't want to take it while I was watching. Nope. Next, I'm driving down the road and I see a big Elvis statue. So I said, oh, gotta stop here. Pulled in. I pulled into the parking lot and of a something closed business next to it. And I went up and looked at it, and I didn't realize behind me was an attraction I almost missed that is called the Polka Dot Drive-In, restaurant. And it's old fashioned where you can get your order at the window or you can go inside. Well, the pictures I have online of that are really cool. And I've got tons I didn't post. So maybe I'll make a better album when I get home. So anyway, I'm parking the car and starting to walk over to the Elvis statue. And guess what? Right in front of me are the couple from the black car. Now, they must have gotten ahead of me somewhere when I don't know what I was doing that they got ahead of me, but they were walking over. I mean, we were seconds apart anyway. And I said, hey, are you guys following me? And we laughed. And then I said, I wish you'd have picked up that rock. I saw you pick it up and look at it. I wish you'd have taken it. And the guy says, well, we didn't know what to do with it. We saw what it was, but we didn't quite understand it. So I explained and showed him the sticker on the back again. And she said, well, when we see another one, the woman said, when we see another one, we'll pick it up. And I said, wait. And I decided that since the rocks were handed to me, that I could kind of, hand it. And now it's not cheating, even though we did take a picture of me placing the rock and them picking up the rock. They did that on their own because they got to do their own. They got to do something on their own. So anyway, we talked a little bit and come to find out their names are Laura and Noel, and they are on their honeymoon. And get this, they're from Spain. So they're going to take the rock and they're going to bring it back to Spain. So that was quite a highlight of my day. And again, it's meeting people, the man from the gas station. And sometimes if you've got someone with you, you tend to pay attention to the person you're with you. And if you're alone, you will kind of look around and reach out and make friends a little bit. So I encourage that. And then a little while later, I told them I wanted, I got some French fries, by the way. I mean, that's what you get at that kind of driving is French fries. And they were very good. And they had just come out of the grease, and they are so hot. My tongue still burns. Anyway, so my next stop is going to be what's called the 2-cell jail. And let me tell you, even my GPS couldn't help it. I drove around and up Mike's and down Jake's, and I figured I had told the honeymoon couple that's where I was going, but there's no way they found that. There's no way they found it. You have to be really determined. Like, I don't know. We'll see if they found it or not. But anyway, so I found the 2-room jail, and then I went off to another one that is a refurbished standard, gas station. And again, that one was a little bit challenging because it didn't quite match what the GPS said. Some of the things don't have addresses, but I got there. And when I got to the gas station, I saw people, there was like 10 motorcyclists or more. There was a bunch of them scattered around. And I know I'd seen them before. I'd crossed paths with them here and there before. And it's a tour. It's a motorcycle tour, and they even have a big truck with them that says something motorcycle truck. So I guess if anyone can't drive or there's a problem where you shouldn't drive, they pop the things in the truck and off they go. But again, I met some nice people, and we talked a little and laughed a little and took some pictures. So it's always so nice to reach out and meet new people. And then I got back on the road. I was starting to think, and this is one of those things about getting there in time. The refurbished gas station is like a little shop of memorabilia and things to buy. I'm trying to avoid buying. But I went in there and we were a half hour too late. I had a little trinket I wanted to send Tristan, and got to the post office 15 minutes too late. So note to self, start earlier and go to bed earlier, because then I'll be ready to start earlier the next day. Oh, I just thought of a tip I wanted to make sure I gave you. You know, I'm nervous having my computer with me because you never know, somebody might get it. You know, something, I might drop it and break it. But before you go on a trip, be sure that you back up your pictures and your documents. So I did that. So I God forbid the worst happen, anything happens to my computer, but I know that everything is backed up. And I posted the best pictures online, so even they, worse should happen, I have up there in cyberspace. So then I'm driving along, and I pulled off because I was trying to figure out, wait a minute, I am not on Historic 66 anymore. I want to get back to it. So I just kind of pulled over in this place and pulled in a driveway. It looked like one of those big metal buildings, and it said on it, Thrift Avenue. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And I really couldn't tell if it was open or not. But I went and tried the door. You'd have to see it to understand it. I told the lovely lady that runs the shop, you're going to have to do something better to let them know you're open. And she said that that store had only been open 3 weeks. She was just really getting into it. But anyway, she was delightful, and I talked to her for a couple of minutes, and so I said, whatever made you think about going into this kind of business? And she said, well, because I got dumped. And I said, what? And she said, yeah. She said, after 25 years of marriage, my husband dumped me. And I'm just divorced. And I figured, well, now I'm going to do something I always wanted to do. And you know, you've probably heard the old saying, which I totally agree with, which is the best revenge is success. So she was doing it and doing it well. This is her second shop. So we talked for a while, and, you know, she was showing me stuff. And I was like, I don't want to spend any money. You know, I don't want to spend any money. So I wound up buying a little mandala coloring book. I mean, it was very inexpensive. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize how long I've been talking. I gotta get done. I know I'm probably gonna bore you guys. I just want to make sure I'm looking at my list about spending money. I'm trying not to unnecessarily, especially for stuff that I will not have any place to put. And y'all don't care about my Route 66 trinkets, I am sure. I'm so happy I brought all my food that I could, some breakfast, some lunches. So far, I haven't hit on the breakfast too much, but I figure one meal out a day is good, and I've been doing that. I am dealing with, getting with the healing part, I am dealing with extremely painful flashes of grief. Usually when I'm alone and I think about, you know, the if only this hadn't happened. But that's not the way it is. And I'm looking at counting my blessings, my little blessings, my big blessings, and you guys are a big part of that because you are here with me on the journey. And I'm going to, with that, apologize for taking so much of your time today. And I expect to be on tomorrow. And please go check my Getting My Kicks on Route 66 album. And God bless you. And may we be surrounded and enfolded and protected and beloved by the one spirit that created us all and loves us all. Happy day to you. Happy journeys to me. And I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.